This video is to demonstrate the process of centrifuge casting, which is able to make really detailed small parts. There are a bunch of benefits to centrifuge casting. Mainly, if you 3D print the master for your molds, you're able to print many different configurations or geometries all at once. You can hear our printers working right now to produce some masters. So say you wanted to make a shape similar to this, which looks like a miniature juicer for like orange juice or a citrus juicer. So the way you would adapt that part to be compatible with centrifuge casting is you would first add what we call a sprue onto the bottom of your piece. So what that does is enables you to have some volume of material that later will be a negative that we're going to use to melt some molten polymer into, and then the centrifuge will push it inside the mold to fill up your part. The place that you should put that sprue is opposite any fine detail features. So inside the mold, it's going to look like this, and your plastic will be pushed down to form these really thin ribs. In this case, they're 500 micron or less in thickness. And so out of the printer, you can print many small parts like this very quickly. And the way you'll process these prints is to add supports onto the bottom surface. And then you'll basically use sandpaper to grind those very flat. You can put some isopropyl alcohol on a Kim wipe and brush it like that to get all the dust off. Then you would take some super glue and put a little dab onto one of these cup molds. We have two different sizes of these cup molds, so this is the smaller of the two. Some larger ones will give you like wider and flatter molds. And that would be good because they won't be top heavy and they won't tip over in the centrifuge. So if you can, you use that mold. You can also fit more parts in that. So then just use the super glue, put the part on. If you're worried about the mold like releasing from the plastic, you can use mold release. This silicone mold release is pretty good. So just spray the mold release in there and wait about 5 minutes for it to set. After that, you're going to use a 2-part silicone and pour it into the mold. Something we use pretty often is this Moldstar 31T. This silicone sets up very quickly. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. We put inside a cup, mix it up really quickly, pour it into the mold, and we actually centrifuge the silicone inside this mold to get all the bubbles out. After you do that, you end up with a mold like this. And to get our part out, I've actually cut with a razor blade a little bit down the sides. So if you open it up, you can pull the 3D printed part out, close it back up, and then you can add some plastic pellets. In this case, we're using polycaprolactam, a biodegradable polymer. We just pour some of those pellets in and then put it into this little oven. And polycaprolactam, or PCL, melts at about 60 degrees Celsius. So we cook it at about 100 degrees Celsius. You want to heat it up 40 or 50 degrees higher than its melting point. And then we'll take that mold after it's been heated for, I don't know, about an hour or so. We can take it out of the oven, and then we'll bring it over to the centrifuge. And this is a refrigerated centrifuge that has these little things called microplate carriers on the inside. And those will fit a whole well plate size, so you can put your mold on top. In this case, I've got one that has like a cut in it, so I might add like a zip tie or something to like keep it held together. In any case, I'm going to balance with the other side, and then I'll just drop these into the holders. And then the settings that I need are 2,500 RPM for about 1 minute. And that's a good enough speed and time where it will fill really fine detail features, but it won't be so fast that it deforms the mold while it's spinning. So you got to make sure to close the lid very firmly and then push the play button. So let that spin for about a minute, and then you're going to take it out. And you're going to pop open your mold and pull out the piece. And so you can compare to the original. You can see those parts side by side. So that's the process of centrifuge casting. And comment, like, and subscribe.